All right, let's get started. We're going to cover Army Doctrine Publication 1. This isn't just a manual, it's the foundational document that defines who we are as soldiers, what we do, and how we do it. This is the very bedrock of our profession.
So, to really understand the Army, you have to start with where we operate, the land domain. Now, you have other forces in the air, at sea, or in cyberspace, but the land domain is completely unique. It's by far the most complex, and it's what truly defines our purpose as a service.
Think about it. Unlike any other domain, land is where people live. The Army doesn't operate above or next to populations. We operate right in the middle of them. And that human element makes everything we do incredibly complicated. You're dealing with local politics, with different cultures, with economies. This is exactly why winning the peace can be just as hard, and sometimes even harder, than winning the war.
And that brings us to this key statement from our own doctrine. It really gets to the heart of conflict. Yeah, air and sea power are absolutely critical, but at the end of the day, it's control over the land, the resources, and the people that determines who really won. Land power is almost always the final decider.
Okay, so that's the where. Now let's talk about how the Army actually accomplishes its mission. We do this through three main strategic roles, which come straight from the National Military Strategy. These roles are simple and direct: prevent, shape, and win. First, we prevent conflict. We do that by being a credible, combat-ready force that makes any potential enemy think twice. Second, we shape the international environment. That means working with our partners and allies, building up their capabilities. And finally, when we have to, we are always prepared to win our nation's wars, and to do it decisively.
Next, we need to cover what the Army actually is. And to do that, you have to understand that the Army has a dual identity. There are two fundamental sides to it, and they work together.
So the Army is at the very same time a military department, that's an official institution of the U.S. government, and it's a military profession, that's a community of experts, people who practice the art and science of warfare on land.
Let's break that down. The military department is the institution. It's the organization that's responsible for all the business stuff, manning, training, and equipping the force. But the military profession, well, that's the people. It's us. It's the community of experts held together by a shared ethos of trust and honorable service. And you absolutely cannot have one without the other. That idea of a profession brings us to its very soul, its ethos. You'll find that the Army profession is defined by 5 essential characteristics, and you need to know that all of them are built on the single bedrock foundation of trust. Here they are. These are the 5 things every single Army professional has to embody: trust, military expertise, honorable service, esprit de corps, and stewardship. This is the core of who we are. It all begins with trust. It is the absolute foundation. We're talking about the trust between soldiers in a firefight, the trust a soldier has in their leaders, and just as important, the trust the American people have in us, the Army. Without that trust, none of the other stuff is even possible.
Next up is military expertise. This is our unique body of knowledge, our craft. And it's not just about fighting. It's about the ethical application of land power. It means we have to be experts in the technical aspects of war, sure, but also in the moral, ethical, and political cultural fields. We are always sharpening this expertise through constant training and education.
Honorable service. This is all about the character of our commitment. It comes right back to the oath we all took to support and defend the Constitution. It means that how we act, both on and off duty, has to reflect the highest moral principles. We bring credit to our uniform and to our country.
You've heard this term before, esprit de corps. This is that invisible bond that turns a group of individuals into a real team. It's that winning spirit, that collective pride in our unit and our history. This is the stuff that makes soldiers refuse to let their buddies down. It's what drives us to push past fear and get the mission done.
And finally, their stewardship. This is about our long-term responsibility. It is the duty of every single professional, military and civilian, to not only crush today's mission, but to also make the profession even better for the next generation. We have to ensure the Army stays ready to serve the nation long into the future. When you put it all together, these characteristics are what we live by. They're embodied in our creed. I am an American soldier. I am a guardian of freedom and the American way of life.
We are the strength of our nation and its force of decisive action.